Welcome to another connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, thanks for joining us on the show this week. Each week we come into our Studio B and have different people from different organizations come in to talk about what's going on around our broadcast area. We cover about 6 counties in the area, and so there's a lot of different organizations and a lot of good organizations that really try to help people in many different ways. And we do appreciate all those people and all the organizations coming in, and hopefully we can disseminate information to you that perhaps you don't know about. And some of the organizations could possibly help you or somebody that you know. Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We're going to talk with a lady about an organization that does a lot, particularly for kids in the area. Many things have changed over the years, and so has auto body repair. Even though Ozark Auto Body has been in business for over 30 years, they continue to change with the times. They believe protecting the environment is important and have done so by using environmentally friendly waterborne paint from PPG. This aligns with the technology used by original manufacturers and gives you a lifetime limited warranty. Quality PPG waterborne paint, ASC certified personnel, plus 24-hour towing service. Ozark Auto Body in Harrison, always taking pride in excellence. Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. Our first guest in the studio today is Jeannie King, and she's with Children's Charity Ministry. She was with us last year, and thank you, Jeannie, for coming in. I appreciate you coming in again with your busy schedule. Lots of things going on. People may or may not know, although it's been around for a long time, what is CCM? What's that stand for, actually?
Children's Charity Ministry, and we backpack lunches for children in 6 counties. We have other things that we do, but that is our main concern, is seeing that children eat on the weekends. Some people may not know what the backpack lunches are. We take lunches to the school. There's 4 lunches and 4 snacks for each bag.
Okay.
The school gives them out to the children.
And do they give them out on a Friday before they go home on the weekend? Is that what they do?
Generally, they give them out on Friday, yes.
Okay. As school districts, give me an example. What school districts do you get involved? You said 6 different.
Counties, I can tell
counties,
you, yes. Yes, we do Alpena schools.
Okay.
Jaspers, Deer, St. Joe, Marshall, Harrison, some of them, not all of them, but we do some of the Harrison schools. We do Bergman. Some of the kids are from the Mountain Home area, Bruno Payette, Kingston.
Wow.
We did do OARC. This year we're not doing OARC.
Wow, that's a lot of school districts involved. Now, do you, with your... we're going to talk about kind of how you get this food products, but these are snack packs. Just reach down in there and bring your bag up there and just take out 2 or 3 items, kind of, and hold it in front of the camera. Just an example of kind of what you would give these students.
This is our cereal. We have oatmeal, and they always get a cereal and an oatmeal every time.
Okay.
There's mac and cheese, either in the bowl or in the package. They have to be individual servings.
Okay.
They get things as snacked as applesauce, maybe pudding cups, fruit snacks, granola bars. They get 4 snacks and 4 meals with every bag that they get.
Okay. So, you mean, obviously you want to get, and you can see with the products that she's got here, try to be as nutritious as possible and as healthy as possible. And some of the snacks, like the granola bars and stuff, are very good for you and very nutritious, too. That makes it so it's all non-perishable type items, then, Jeannie, is that correct? Okay, so let's back up just a little bit. So you have the thrift store, which is in the Jonas, I call it the Jonas Shopping Center.
I do too.
I guess, what is it called now? I forget now. But anyway, it used to be the Jonas Shopping Center, but you have your thrift store there. People bring clothing and furniture and all kinds of items into the thrift store. And when you sell that, I'm assuming that goes to purchase more food and operate the center and so forth. Is that
yes,
correct?
sir, it does. We do have 2 paid employees,
Okay.
which are our director and our assistant director. Everybody else is volunteered.
Okay.
And we always are looking for volunteers to help us either pack the lunches or sort the clothes or work the store.
It does. Actually, CCM started back, I think you told me, like maybe in 1990 or something.
Oh, no, it started in 2009.
2000, I'm sorry, I meant 2000.
That's okay. In our old director's basement.
Wow.
We moved to our location now in 2011.
Okay, where you are now, and obviously got more space there, I'm sure,
Much more.
as you went forward. So I will throw this out: if you have any, nice, clean clothing, or maybe items that you don't use. I see furniture in there when I go in there to see Jeannie and the staff. They'll have different chairs and maybe a dinette set and a couch or whatever, or anything that would be good resellable type products. They would certainly be very appreciative, and it goes to a great cause. Okay, so you buy this food. I'm assuming you buy it. Do you get any food donated much in the non-perishable stuff?
Oh, yes,
You get a
we
lot
do. We have FedEx does food drives, some of the dentist offices.
Okay.
The banks have done drives for us in the past.
Okay. So you get different people that do that, and then, of course, you go purchase
Yes,
products,
we
too.
purchase them.
How many, just roughly, I mean, I know you've thousands. You had a number there. Just roughly, how many kids would you affect?
I'd say that we do about 2,700 to 3,000 kids a month. I know that we do 18,000 with meals and snacks a month.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of kids.
And I'm sure we don't touch them all.
No, you can't. I mean, as you try to do, obviously you work with the school districts, I'm sure. The kids that are on the lunch program, I'm assuming, would be the first group that these schools would look at their lunch program, and then you're an extension of that, really. You're giving them nutrition for the weekend when they're not in the schools.
That's correct.
And then that means a lot to these.
And I really don't know how they get the kids' names.
I'm sure that's probably the first place they get it.
But I do know that the schools will call us and say we need X amount of food for our kids, or we have 130 kids. So then we know that it's 4 times that, then 4 times more.
Right. So you do, I would assume that, I mean, that's a pretty big area that you're covering. You've mentioned all the way to Deer and Bruno Payette and et cetera. Do you take the food to the schools like on a monthly basis? How do you get the food out to the schools? Someone from the organization?
Normally we have a volunteer. My husband and I are doing a lot. The director does a lot. Her sister does some. But we take it to the school, and then the school hands it out. And yes, we take it monthly to the lower amount schools. The ones that have a large amount of children, we have to take it twice a month because we don't have a vehicle that'll carry all of it. We do have some volunteers that come in, and they take the food out too.
Do you or does the school? I mean, do you actually put it in a bag for them? And do you guys bag it up, or do you take it in bulk and let them bag it up?
We have one school or two that does it bulk. Otherwise, we bag everything up. We buy the bags. We do not use like Walmart bags or whatever. That's cross-contamination. We buy new bags to sack the food in.
Wow. You think about the children in the area, and there's some really good organizations that are really trying to make a difference, as we just talked about. I mean, a lot of the churches and schools, some of the school districts, particularly the bigger school districts, where they can have people dedicated to helping But we have a lot of families that are struggling, that really do struggle, and it filters down to the children. Unfortunately, sometimes it's a problem with the family that could probably be alleviated with a little more family oriented stressing that the kids not go hungry. Of course, you've always got families that that unfortunately drugs have a lot to do with families in despair. But there's a lot of kids out there that even in rural areas and these are small school districts that we have in our part of the country here. You can imagine what the metropolitan cities have, but we have a lot of kids. I mean, that's a lot of numbers if you think about it. That are kids that really need help.
That's correct. And like I said, I'm sure we don't hit them all. My husband drives a bus for a different school district, and he said that you'd just be amazed. And the kids are so hungry.
Wow. Wow, that's terrible. It's bad enough for anybody to go hungry, including adults, but when you're talking about children that, again, they don't have any control of their destiny at the young age, and they're just having to go with whatever's given to them. It's a sad thing. You do a great job. That's why I wanted you to come back in and talk about your children's charity ministry. I know you have some churches, you don't have to mention names or whatever, but you have churches that support you as well, I'm sure.
Yes, we do have a couple of churches. We have some businesses that donate every month. But of course, we always are needing more food, clothes, furniture. We're in dire need of furniture. And if someone comes in a burnout or homeless or whatever, we supply them with what we have. I mean, if it's clothes or furniture or dishes or whatever.
That's, the old saying, people helping people. That really is important that we do that. Particularly, we are in a small area of the country, small towns, and I think, maybe a little bit closer family ties, and some, there's people that maybe have lived in some of these small communities for a long time. There's a lot of people that are related or friends and been around, and everybody goes through, burnout can happen to anybody, and it's great that Jeannie, I really appreciate you coming in today and talking about it. Did I miss anything? You want to?
I would like to also mention that we do have a hygiene program, and we give it out in August with the JAs, but we also give it during the school year.
Okay.
A large bottle of shampoo, a large toothpaste, toothbrush, deodorant if they need it, bars of soap, and everything that we have in the store when we help somebody is given free of charge. We do not charge for clothes, shoes. We have an emergency pantry that God has blessed us time and time again, because when we get low, the food comes.
Yeah, well, that's
where
great.
From, I don't know, but it comes.
Well, that's great, and we've run out of time, but okay. I forgot about the hygiene that you do that as well, and wow, what a lot of wonderful things that they do at the Children's Charity Ministry. Try to help them if you can. If you got things that you don't use, it's in the closet, food items, obviously cash donations. They're located in the shopping center. I call it the Jonas Shopping Center. They're kind of right across from Sears on Main Street. And go in, help them out if you can. They're touching a lot of children in our area, and they would be very appreciative. Jeannie, thanks again for coming in. I do appreciate it, and thanks for all your voluntary efforts. It's very much recognized.
Thank you for having us.
Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We're going to talk with another young lady also about a program here in the area that has to do with housing. Stay with us.
Crystal clear mountain streams, river rapids, and rolling hills with endless valleys. The beauty of the Ozarks we often take for granted. At Magnus Toyota, we never underestimate the value of our customers. As a third-generation family-owned business, Magnus Toyota has been operating here in the Ozarks for over 50 years. When we make a new deal, we make a new friend. Stop in and visit us today and see why our customers say we're the best. Magnus Toyota, your hometown Toyota dealer on Highway 65 North in Harrison.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, thanks for joining us on the show today. Our second guest in the studio is Shonda Tapley, and Shonda is the director of the Harrison Housing Authority. A lot of people may not even know what that means, and she's going to tell us. Thank you for coming in. You're so busy all the time. When I see you going around, do you ever go any other than fast?
No. No.
The speed, one speed, fast.
Right.
Thank you for coming in. We try to get you to come in at least every year. People, sometimes we have a lot of different programs out there, and the reason we do the show is to try to disseminate information about these organizations to you or to someone perhaps you know that may need these organizations for something. And that's why I like for Shonda to come in, because you do so much for the area. Just in a brief, does Harrison Housing Authority, tell us a little bit about what you do. Shonda.
We are a federally funded program by the Housing and Urban Development organization for the federal government, and that's HUD.
Okay.
And what we do is we provide Section 8 housing choice vouchers to local residents in our community in the city limits of Harrison and up to 15 miles outside the city limits.
Okay.
And we provide rental assistance. And that's mainly what we do, the big part of what we do.
Right. And you have, just for sake of numbers, roughly on an average, how many people would you assist with rental, just on a given basis?
Residents in our community, probably anywhere from 470 to 485 a month, and that's units. That's not people.
That's
right now we're close to probably 900 people total, because you have multiple people in the units, but a big portion of our tenants are elderly single households.
Wow. So you anywhere between 450 and 500 units that you help people with.
The HUD says we can help a maximum of 507.
Okay.
However, it's a numbers game, and so depending on how much, we only have so big of a budget, so we have to try to utilize all that budget. And if we have smaller units, so we're paying less per month, and people work, so we're paying less per month, then we can offer more vouchers.
I got you. So it's all, and so it has to do as far as the individuals that you can help, obviously has to do with their income level and their number of people in the household, I'm sure. Maybe a combination of both?
Yes, we look at that. People have to come in and apply and qualify, and we look at their criminal history, their previous housing history. So if someone comes in, they live in our housing authority, or they get assistance from us and they violate some regulations, we can possibly sanction them. And they might owe the landlord money for repairs, and until they pay that off, they would not be able to get assistance anywhere in the U.S. for housing assistance. And so we look at all of that, and then we look at their household composition, which is how many people are in the house and what types, because we don't require, if there's two people, if it's a child and a single parent, we offer them a 2-bedroom if our budget is available to do that, because we don't want them to be there temporarily. We're hoping to put them in a place that they'll be in long term, and they'll become eventually self-sufficient. And so we look at that, and then we have fair market rents that HUD gives us that we have to go by, because HUD wants to make sure that we are not the driving force of the market locally. And so I try to analyze that every once a quarter. And like this last year, I did rent increases for some of our landlords because our budget was able to let us, and I did the fair market rent increases because the market had demanded that.
It went up
Yes.
accordingly. So, so you really have, basically, Shonda, you have two clients, if you will. You have the tenants, and then you have the landlords.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So let's say if I wanted to be, if I've got some rental property, a couple of houses or duplex or whatever, and I wanted to be a part of your program, how would I go about that? Would I come and see your office?
Yes. And we sometimes we'll have landlords coming in saying, we've heard about you, we have a tenant or the tenant will come in and say, I live in this place, but my landlord doesn't work with you. And I'll give them a card and tell them to call me, and the landlord will either come in, or like this morning there was a landlord out of Oklahoma. You know, I would say about 98% of our landlords are local, but this gentleman was in Oklahoma, and so I spoke with him on the phone for about 10 to 15 minutes and just gave him an overview of the program. And there's a couple documents that he has to fill out, because we do automatic. We try to do everything as technologically savvy as we can to save us money, because HUD keeps cutting our budget, like everything else. But it's great. You know, we're providing something good for the community, and you just give them the requirements, and they can come by our office, they can call us, and we'll sign you up and let you know. And we can even go out there and pre-inspect your unit to say, this is what you need to do to become HUD compliant, and we'll put your property on our rental list. And that would, you know, that might help you rent it faster.
Wow. And you would probably have situations, I'm assuming, that, for instance, let's say I've got a couple of rental units, and maybe a family's been living in my unit. All of a sudden, he loses his job or something. Do you have that situation occur where I might come in and say, you know, they've been a good tenant and they like, but they can't afford my rent, that type of thing?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I have a couple landlords in town that, like one of the landlords recently bought, I think it was a 4-unit, a fourplex. And one of the tenants had been living there for like 10 years, and she's been on Social Security. And so he said, you need to come, you know, you need to go into housing because you're probably qualified based on your income. And she was. And so we were able to help her cut her portion down in half.
Wow.
So,
and because she was on a fixed Social Security.
And based on, she met our income limits. And so we, you know, that'll happen too. Or someone will lose their job, or they'll become single, things like that.
I know in the past discussions with you, and I try to get you in to talk to us at least once a year, but and it changes. But like, for instance, now in your area here that you're responsible, do you have a long waiting list? I know it comes and goes, but are you in pretty good shape right now with that?
We our waiting list is short, a couple months typically. Okay. You know, it's processing time, and we have a little bit of a waiting list because we worked really hard last year to lease up, what we call it, to use as much of our budget as possible, and so that we can keep it here for the community. But, you know, like I said, it's a couple months, and we're very fortunate because Branson, 30 minutes away, is about 5 years. Wow. That's what we were told by a tenant last week. Wow. And, you know, Springdale, I think, is 2 or 3 years. Or Fayetteville, some of Northwest Arkansas, so they're not very far from us. So we're very fortunate to have a very quick waiting list. And I know that one night being homeless is difficult, but
years.
You know, some places have 8 years, 10 years, 16. You know, there's a place in the eastern coast that's 16 years. What do people do that long?
Oh my gosh, we are so blessed to have that situation here. I know that we've been fortunate also that we've had more units become available. Maybe talk a little bit about your units out here.
Yes, we were very fortunate to. Before I started with Housing Authority in 2014, they started working with a developer to develop Majestic View, and that's a 40-unit senior complex, and it's HUD funded. It's a tax credit property, and so we provide vouchers in that complex, and so we're able to help out seniors. And fortunately for us, some things happened through the process, but it's worked out great, and we were able to lease up that unit, which fill that unit within 30 days, and all those spots that other tenants took or left behind were filled up immediately. So it wasn't like there were a bunch of vacancies left.
Wow.
We have a need in our area for more housing.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that the Majestic facility, I didn't realize how many units were there, but I know it's a nice facility.
Very nice.
Very well
nice.
kept.
Very nice.
Do you find, we kind of going back to what you talked about a while ago, do you find most, or a big percentage of your tenants treat the property with respect, and you don't have much problem? I'm sure you just always have a few that, you know, if you're a landlord, you know, you don't want them knocking holes in the walls and making methamphetamine in the apartment or whatever.
Right.
But I'm sure that happens a little bit once in a while. But all in all, most of these people are appreciative of the fact that they're getting help.
The huge, vast majority are great tenants that just need a little hand up. whether they're on a fixed income or they're in a spot right now where they, need some additional help.
Right.
And I would say, just like anywhere, like you said, there's both my hands probably are the troubled tenants, and we try to work with landlords as closely as we can to monitor them and either get them to clean up their act or help to terminate their assistance and evict them. And that's unfortunate.
Yes.
But, we don't want to ruin it for everybody else. And so what I did this last month was I had a trainer come in, and all of my employees and myself are now certified housing quality standard inspectors. So we know what we're doing, or we should know what we're doing anyways. And so we're going to, continue working on helping clean up the community.
If someone, let's say that somebody was on housing and they had a need, and then all of a sudden maybe they were laid off or whatever, then they get it. Do you have people come and go, or does the percentage change quite often with the tenants? I guess I should say.
We have, your rent, we can change it every month.
Okay.
If, that's a lot of work for us, but we'll do it.
Right.
Sometimes people's hours fluctuate. They go on maternity leave, or it's seasonal, or they just lose a job. But we try to, HUD requires you to have income to keep your utilities on.
Oh, okay.
So we try to reinforce that as much as possible. We will give a few exemptions for emergency circumstances like losing your job. But we urge people to get income, whether it's family support or, getting a job or having Social Security or disability, child support, something. And, because if you have your utilities cut off, we will terminate your assistance.
Okay. So that's kind of a guide that you use.
Yes.
We've got a couple minutes. I do want to ask you, there's a lot of different organizations. We just had, Jeannie King came in talking about CCM, and you I'm sure, communicate with a lot of the different organizations.
Yes, we, since I started and my team has started, we try to get out there in the community as much as possible and working on relationships that we need with everything from the city to the Boone County Resource Council. We are working with revamping the continuum of care, and we work with the, any kind of organization. We work very closely with Ozark Opportunities, Sharing Care, House of Hope, and their rapid rehousing program. So, and the schools, we just try to reach out and work with as many resources as we can, because we don't we don't typically just take someone's application for housing and send them on their way.
Right.
We find out if they need something, and then we refer them or talk to someone. We'll even call that agency and say, are you available if we send them, so that we're not just wasting their agency time.
So you can help others that need to touch these people as well.
Yes.
That makes it nice, especially in smaller communities where you know a lot of these people in one-on-one situation. Thank you. We've run out of time. You always do a great job of explaining the Harrison Housing Authority, and Chandra and her staff do an excellent job down there. She never slows down. She's always going 100 miles an hour. If somebody had a question, a phone number that they could contact your office if they needed to call, like a landlord or a tenant.
Right. They can call 870-741-8673 or come see us at 202 West Stevenson, right off the square.
Right, easy to find, right on the square.
Yes.
It used to be First Federal down on the square, for those of you that may be around here. Chandra, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in. We'll look forward to keeping up with what you're doing, and if anything big comes up, please give us a call, and we'll try to help you get the information
I will.
out. Thanks for joining us on our Connection show today. Don't forget, if you're part of an organization or you'd like to get some information out, give us a call here at the studio, 741-2566, and we'll try to get you on the show in the very near future. We'll see you again next time on Connection.
KTKO Channel 8 Harrison. Local television worth watching.
Sam Alexander Pharmacy has expanded and is now offering many additional products and services. Their new pharmaceutical compounding area allows them to create products to fit the unique needs of a customer. They also have added Spinco orthotic shoes and sandals, Dr. Comfort diabetic shoes, baby gifts by Aiden and Anais, and toys by Melissa and Doug. Stop in today